a lot of the grandkids have inherited this old farmland that grandma and grandpa left for them. They don't want to work the fields. They don't want to hop in that tractor in the hot heat. It's sad to see the farmland going away. The water isn't what it used to be. There's a lot of salt here, and the salt kills off a lot of those plants. We are the city with a mission.
I'm excited to be in Socorro, Texas, which is just east of El Paso. And I've enjoyed living in El Paso and enjoying this region of Texas. There's a lot going on, but Mayor Cruz is joining us today to talk about everything Socorro. Thank you for joining us. How are you today?
Justin, I'm doing all right. Thanks again for having us here. I'm here sitting in my office in the heart of the city of Socorro. For those of you who don't know, we are the city with a mission because that's the spirit of the service and community, and it's at the heart of Socorro. We are home to one of the oldest active missions in the entire state of Texas.
It's a beautiful mission as well, but I think you're at the heart of a cultural area for Texas that doesn't get nearly as much attention as San Antonio and those missions might see, but there's been hundreds of years of history happening in Socorro from what I remember.
You know, Justin, you can drive down a 9 mile corridor from one mission to the next, and there's three along that corridor, and one of them is home to my tribe. For those of you that don't know, I am from an indigenous community, and I come from that background. I was born and raised in that community, but at the same time, it's very fun to see that my tribe has outgrown its area and has also established themselves in the city of Socorro, a city that I represent here. Not only the community that established itself here, but also my tribal community. We're checkerboarded throughout the city or the county of El Paso, if you would. And again, home to one of the oldest communities that still reside here, and that's Ysleta del Sur Pueblo. And I'm very honored to be able to say that my tribe has established themselves within the jurisdictional boundaries of my city.
Well, it's a beautiful region as well because of the agricultural background. It's big rolling valleys, a lot of ranching and farming land, and that's been the traditional economy for so long, but that is shifting. And as we see the region continue to grow, there's a lot of federal operations that are there, but then there's large manufacturing that's moving to the region, bringing jobs. But that is a shift for that region, and particularly your city of Socorro, uh, because it was a little bit immune to El Paso's original growth. But now we're seeing that with the point of entry. And my background put me in manufacturing in Mexico, and we would use those points of entry. And so how is that shift progressing over the last few years that you've been mayor?
Yeah, Justin, and you're absolutely correct. We are border to Mexico. We are a border city, and a lot of times, what the my community here in Socorro hasn't seen, as El Paso has seen, because El Paso is a much larger city. They've grown that industry with the border trade, and they've established foreign trade zones. Socorro is just now starting to see that. And the reason is, and I'll be completely transparent because I do have a lot of residents that will approach me and they'll say, it's sad to see the farmland going away. And I said, absolutely, it is sad. Number one, the water isn't what it used to be. We're getting fewer irrigations. Number two, the quality of the water isn't what it used to be. There's a lot of salt here, and the salt kills off a lot of those plants that they're trying to farm. Another thing is that let's talk about the truth. We're facing, 3-digit degree weather nowadays, and grandkids just don't want to work the fields. They don't want to do what grandma and grandpa do. So what do they end up doing? Is they end up selling to these developers, and the developers are coming in here and they're turning what once was agricultural land into commercial. So we're seeing a lot of the food industry pop up. We're seeing a lot of the small businesses growing on what once was agricultural, but also we need to take advantage of the region that we've been placed in, and that's the border. And so we've established a foreign trade zone, and we've brought in new industry in the manufacturing and also the logistics areas.
Well, and it also addresses, you talk about the next generation. If you don't have those jobs, those generations leave. And
Yes.
culturally, for the community of Socorro, it's important. to keep them close to home, keep them employed, and give them opportunities. And at one point, that opportunity was agriculture. In the next phase, it might be advanced manufacturing, but we're seeing that across the state. So I would encourage those residents to also think about how much of that local generation, the local kids that would be exported if those jobs weren't there.
Yeah, Justin, we live in a community that is very, very tight knit. And one of the things that I'm been trying to do alongside my colleagues here and our city staff is that we've been trying to grow our community to where we can afford those newer opportunities for the newer generation of people. Our grandparents, our parents want to see our kids stay here in the community, but I need to be able to bring those jobs that are sustainable in today's economy. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we're building on today.
And you've done that in a number of different ways personally, whether you were in office or serving the tribal council, the roles that you've been in. I've also seen you individually have a big role in building incubators for small business in the region, which I was surprised to see that in a community the size of Socorro.
That's correct. And again, not my idea, not my work, just something that I fell into as a small business development specialist for my tribe at one time. As my tribe understood that there was a need, and that need was to create this incubators for the small businesses to operate. Because we understand that when a small business enters, the real world, of operating outside in a large city, it could be scary. Number one, they're trying to build that client base. They're having to pay employees. They're having to pay their insurance, and then they're having to pay rent, which can be expensive at times. So what we did was we wanted to put our small businesses in an area where they can grow, and once they grew to a level that they could sustain themselves in the real world, operating off of the reservation, then that was successful. They were successful, and that opened the doors for other opportunities for them to grow into the federal government world. That's kind of what we wanted to see for our tribal operations. Now, me coming into this new role, we'd like to build something similar for the small business community here in Socorro. We're trying to get there, but it's been a challenge because we're facing the challenge of just funding sources and the opportunities coming from all levels of government, federal, state, and local. And we're trying to build this and what once was the Braceros farm. We don't want to see that go to waste. So what we're trying to do is invest in there so that we can invest in the future and invest in our community as well.
Well, and that seems to be a theme, and I appreciate the effort there. But there is the reservation, the casino, the history of the tribal businesses is really interesting because in that region, you're reinvesting in that next generation that way. And I don't think a lot of people understand there are not that many reservations, operational reservations. I believe there's only three. And you represent a big piece of that history there in that region of El Paso County.
Yeah, Justin, there in the state of Texas, there's only three federally recognized Indian tribes, and one of them is here, and I'm very proud to be part of that tribal nation. But alongside that note is you need to understand and realize that there's three federally recognized Indian tribes in the state of Texas, but we are also politically weak. You go to Oklahoma, you go to California, you go to New Mexico, they're a lot stronger than we are. So that means we rely heavily on the surrounding communities around our reservation and our indigenous communities to also help. But in turn, I can tell you that my tribe has also done the very same thing. It wasn't very long ago that my tribe used federal highway dollars to help rehabilitate this irrigation bridge that connects Texas highways to residential. Now, this is off the reservation, but I can tell you that because my tribe sees that our public safety vehicles and also its residents use that bridge, they felt that it was necessary and the need was there. So they helped the city of Socorro secure those federal highway dollars that us as a municipality would never be able to apply for. So we've been helping each other out, both the tribal nation and the city of Socorro, in order to solidify and strengthen our communities. Because what's good for the tribe is good for Socorro, and what's good for Socorro is also good for my tribe.
Well, it's a unique part of Texas that I'm thrilled to talk about because it has led to a resurgence of business opportunity for the people in Socorro and continues to show that through the opportunities that the tribe has provided or the opportunities that individuals benefiting from the tribe have provided because they were successful in their growth. What else happens in Socorro, Texas today? What does the school district look like in Socorro?
You know, I was just at the a couple weeks ago, the Socorro Independent School District that got its name from us. We are the flagship school of that district. And if it isn't the largest district in the county of Paso, it is one of the largest. It's a 6A school district now. I know that when I attended high school, I was in the 25A. And my mom also graduated from Socorro High School. I graduated from Socorro High School, and my oldest son just finished graduating from there. So not only is it a tradition, but it's a culture that we live and we bring it here, and we do it so proudly. The school district has done a complete 180 turn. I don't know how much you've been following the school districts, but they've been struggling. Number one, with its population, and people aren't having kids the way they used to. We live in these older communities, yet the need and call for funding has always been there. We're trying to bring these new programs to our high schools that they weren't there when I was there. Kids are graduating barber school coming out of high school. My son graduated with an associate's coming out of high school. This saves us as parents a lot of money when we're sending our kids to college because they're going in with an associate's degree. But the school district here in Socorro has done an amazing job with being able to just keep this monster of a district up and running, but at the same time not losing its culture and its traditions, it's deep rooted here. So we see that school district, although it exceeds into the city of El Paso and parts of the county, when they come to Socorro, they understand that this is not only part of the school district, it's a community all in its own. So I'm very proud to say it about our school district.
Well, and I don't know that I would have imagined it being a 6A school and that large, but that just tells me that El Paso County continues to sprawl and grow out towards that eastern edge of urban El Paso, but all the way out to Socorro.
Justin, I want to add to that. And just, we've been speaking to the commanding generals from the military installation here in El Paso, Fort Bliss. They are very interested and very soon they will be touring our facilities because they now want to bus those students living on Fort Bliss military installation and bring them down to Socorro High School because they're seeing that we have the programs and we are affording those opportunities that other schools throughout the other different districts in the El Paso County aren't able to offer, and Socorro is able to offer that today.
That's tremendous. What a compliment to the district and the community around it.
Absolutely.
Now, I'll wrap up around the mission again because I want to encourage people to come to Socorro. A lot of people drive through on I-10, but they may not have the thought to stop. But for someone that can take the time and take the exit, they're going to see the missions. They're going to see tremendous history. What else would bring someone into Socorro if they were driving through and wanted to stop?
If you want to come visit the mission, and it's the one that's in this canvas painting right behind me, the one in the center, you'll see that up here you have Ysleta del Sur Pueblo that was built by my ancestors, but also the Socorro mission that was also built by the ancestors of Socorro, the sons and daughters of Socorro. You want to see a building that was built by people with their own hands 400 years ago, come down here and visit it. It's an adobe structure built with these natural elements of wood and mud, but at the same time, it tells a story of the people that still reside here, the pioneers. It also tells a story of the people that used to live here. It's not only something that you can see with your eyes, you can hear it, you can feel it, and you can taste it. Come down here and visit the restaurants, visit the local breweries. I don't know if you ever had the pleasure of tasting a pomegranate beer. But if
Oh,
if you're ever in the neighborhood, come down here and taste our pecan beer, taste our pomegranate beer, and then travel the Mission Trail and actually taste it because we have restaurants here that are actually putting these dishes on the table that take you back 300 to 400 years ago. They show you how it was made. Um, We have all that on the mission trail. So not only, not only the breweries, not only the restaurants, but also visit the cultural center down the road that's on the reservation, and you can see the social dances being performed. You can hear the language being spoken still to this day. You can taste the oven baked bread that's baked in these hornos built of mud, the way it was done 400 years ago. The traditions are still very well kept alive today.
I remember that from my time in El Paso. It's very proud culturally of all of its heritage. But I think you just outlined a great reason for someone to take a stop on that long drive towards San Antonio or out of San Antonio before they hit El Paso and visit, take a step back in time. And I really do appreciate the restaurants and owners that are keeping that tradition alive and introducing it to so many people.
Yeah, they've done a spectacular job. My hats off to them. They're a lot of the homes that are on the mission trail, they've actually been converted into these local businesses, these restaurants, these bistros and these cafes. And it takes a special type of person to invest their life savings into something like that. So we owe it to them. And I ask the community to continue supporting those small local businesses.
Well, Mayor Cruz, you do a wonderful job talking about your community, and I look forward to stopping there on my next trip to El Paso and spending more time in that history, but looking around and seeing a bright future as well.
Yeah, Justin, again, thanks for the opportunity. There's thousands of cities throughout the state of Texas, but there's only one Socorro.
Thank you to our sponsor, Chisos Boots, and their damn comfortable cowboy boots.